What's up, Life Warrior? Happy Monday! Welcome back to your Monday message. I am your host with your weekly dose of something inspirational. I forgot to say who I was. I'm Dharma Shakti, your host. Welcome back. If you are new to my channel, welcome. If you are returning and you're getting these videos in your inbox, thank you for just clicking on the video and hopping on here. I got a really great quote for you today. I am bringing you a little insight from the lovely Brene Brown. And I haven't dropped a Brene Brown quote in a while, so I thought it would be appropriate. I really enjoy this one. So she says, what you know matters, but who you are matters more. Now, what you know matters. It's important that you are educated. It's important that you are informed. It's important that you are aware. It's important that you have knowledge. But who you are is so much more important than that knowledge or in the things that you know. It's not helpful if you know that you should be a kind person, but you're not being kind. Now, that doesn't mean that we have to be perfect, and just because we know it's good to be kind, that we should always be kind and we're never allowed to have a bad day or an off day or get triggered or whatever it is, right? What this means though is, are you actively and proactively doing your best, which is, I think relative to whatever is going on for you, how much of your best you're able to bring, but are you doing your best to apply the knowledge that you have? Right? It is important, right? Knowledge means nothing if we don't apply it. We have to apply the knowledge in order for it to have any value in our lives. Otherwise, it's just cool information that we have up here, or it's just like philosophical ideas that we can use to leverage conversations, but not ever really change our behavior. It's really, really, really important for your growth, for your happiness, for your peace of mind, for your well-being, for your sanity, that you just take some time to check in with yourself tonight, this week, but just often. Am I applying the knowledge that I have, or am I just talking about it because it sounds really cool? Did I learn about this new concept and I've adopted it as a belief, but I don't actually apply it into my life? It sounds cool. It's gonna let you into some social circles because you got all the word salad, spiritual word salad stuff going on, and you got all the right words and the hot words and the trendy words, and you kind of fit in where the conversation is. But when it comes down to those real interactions with people in your life, this is where the rubber hits the road, so to speak. This is where it really matters who we are. It really, really matters who we are. It's not enough to just read some yogic literature and think, oh, I really love this idea of ahimsa and nonviolence, and non-hurting, non-harming, right? Nonviolence kind of makes it sound like just don't be a violent person, but ahimsa means non-harming, non-hurting, non-violence. All things that fit in those categories, right? And we can't avoid, how do I want to say this? You can't live your whole life never hurting anybody. That isn't permission to just go out and be like, well, people are going to get hurt. But we also have to recognize that, there are others in the world who have their own perspective and their own perception and their own values and their own belief systems and their own expectations. So there's no way that we can just be completely non-harming, non-hurting, non-violent ever. But these ideas are that we apply them, and so we are non-harming as much as possible. We are not hurting as much as possible, that we're actively and attentively and proactively making an effort to weigh out the choices that we are making. Is this thing I'm going to do going to hurt somebody? And if it is, how can I adjust it so that it's not so hurtful? If it's something that I can't avoid, right? Sometimes we have to be truthful with the people around us, and we know that it's going to cause some hurt, but not being truthful with them and prolonging this non-truth also is hurtful. In the long run, it might even be more hurtful. So this is what I mean by we can't always just avoid non-harming, non-hurting, but we can do our best to be mindful, to be aware, to be considerate, to use our discernment, as the yogic teachings really, really expand upon, is using our discernment, our viveka, to really make choices based on these value systems. So what you know matters, but who you are matters more. Right? And I think this is common sense, but it's just not always common practice. And we're too busy kind of pointing the finger at everybody else to just check in with ourselves, right? Like, we get really disappointed when some spiritual leader is not living in alignment with the teachings that they are propagating, because they may know all the spiritual stuff, but who they are is not in alignment with that. And again, we want to, account for people make mistakes. People can easily be like knocked down from their sort of high spiritual pedestal, meaning we all have setbacks and we all can fall off the path. We all have bad days. We're all having a human experience. Like, we're going to have really human moments. And so it's not that we want to hold this ridiculously impossible to achieve standard that, like, this, and so you shouldn't be this way 100% of the time. We do have to leave some room for error, for growth, for, just the nature of the fact that we're also intertwined with one another. However, I'm trying to have some grace in this conversation with you all, so that it isn't just this black and white situation where it's like, better, you should do better. Yes, this is true, but we have to add a little bit of room of compassion and take into context what that person may be going through, and that person is a human person who is full of faults and always growing. Our natural journey through life is to grow, and sometimes we grow by making big mistakes, right? It's unintended. None of us really want to make mistakes, but we do. We make mistakes, and that's how we learn. So I digress a little bit. I don't want it to be so black and white as so you should do. Have some grace for yourself and for other people. The essence of what I want you to really get from this is, are you making an effort? Are you trying? Right? Are you trying the best that you can for what you got today? Are you trying your best to apply the knowledge that you have? Are you trying your best to act on the knowledge that you have? Are you trying your best to really embody the knowledge that you have? In some situations, that's going to be very easy to do. And in other situations, it's going to be really, really challenging, because that's where our wounds are. That's where our old patterns are. That's where our old history is. And so it may be difficult in some areas, and that's okay. Totally okay. But what's important is who we are. For me, if people make mistakes, I have a lot of compassion and a lot of understanding. At least I feel that way. Maybe I'm sure other people in my life would disagree with this, but I can just speak from my own perspective. I feel like I make an effort to be really compassionate around mistakes that happen, as people make mistakes in life. I may have my feelings about it, I may have my opinion about it, but I do my best to really be compassionate and understanding of why that person might have made that mistake or made that choice. And for me, it's not so much, I want to pick the words well, it's not that I don't consider the wrong or the mistake or the error or the setback or the fallback. But for me, what speaks volumes is how that person responds to that failure, to that setback, to that mistake, to that wrongdoing, to that lesson that they had to learn where wow, that was a really bad choice I made. I can see how other people were offended. If you can show up to that with some growth and with some learning and some self-accountability, to me, it overshadows the mistake that was made. Because, I'll tell you why, because it means that they are applying what they know and who you are matters. It's You're going to make mistakes. You're going to offend people. You're going to hurt people's feelings. You're going to those things are going to happen. But who you are as you move through those things is more important than what you know. It's more important than what you know. Who you are matters more than what you know. So how are you showing up with the knowledge that you have, with the knowing that you have? Right? None of us like it when we see somebody who's self-proclaimed to be very spiritual and they're just being a jerk. They're being inconsiderate, or they're being arrogant, or they're being controlling, or they're being, name the list. There's a long list of things we can add there. None of us like it. Nobody likes it when we know that somebody knows better, or they have knowledge, especially if they're preaching knowledge, or they're propagating knowledge, or they're telling everybody else to live this way, right? It's so important that we don't go around puffed up and proud because of what we know and kind of telling everybody, well, the yogic texts say this, and the Bible says that, and that the Quran says this, and that Eckhart Tolle says this, and did you know that Abraham Hicks says this, and did you know, and you should, and they have access to a lot of knowledge, but it doesn't trickle down into their system to the point where they are, to some degree, any degree, embodying the knowledge, applying the knowledge. That knowledge has to translate over to how you are now choosing to show up into the world. Right? Even Michael Beckwith talks about this in his book, Spiritual Liberation, that it's not enough to just go somewhere. I'm paraphrasing. It's not enough to just go somewhere and hear some really cool thing and think, wow, that's a really cool belief system. I feel good when I hear that, so I'm going to adopt that belief system for myself and then not apply it. He says this is spiritual immaturity. The spiritually mature person is going to hear that, be inspired, feel good, feel moved by it, and do their best to start applying it. And now, when you start applying it, of course, you're not going to be perfect at it, but the idea is that you start applying it. It's really important that we apply the knowledge that we have. Otherwise, it's useless. Otherwise, it's just something that puffs up our ego because we know a lot, but doesn't really change who we are in this world. So, these beautiful, beautiful words by Brene Brown, what you know matters, but who you are matters more. So just check in with yourself. I'm sure as you're hearing this, you're like, yeah, that person doesn't do that, and this person, don't resist the urge to make this about other people and make this about you. Do you have knowledge that you aren't applying? And don't put such a high standard on yourself that you have to apply it and be perfect at it. But you got to start. Put the training wheels on and get going. And you might fall over and get scuffed up and bruised and maybe even bleed a little bit. It's okay. It's okay. That's how we grow. That's how we learn. That's how we get better. So you have to start applying what you know so that it really impacts who you are as a person. If you want to be better, you have to do better. In order to do better, you have to feel better, right? You know that eating healthy is good for you. But are you the person who eats healthy? So it doesn't do you any good to know it if you're not actually doing it. Okay, so apply, right? I'm resisting the urge, but I just can't help it anymore. I'm gonna say it. Transformation requires application. And that's pretty much what this quote is summarizing here, is you have to apply the knowledge in order to transform who you are, to transform your life, to transform what you're experiencing and receiving and giving and getting in your life journey. It's not enough to just know. It really boils down to who you are. Right? So take some time to let this one percolate, let it settle in, journal about it, and just think about some knowledge that you have that you really value, and maybe rate yourself on a scale of 1 to 10. How much am I applying this? 10 is like, I'm crushing it. I totally apply this one. And 1 is like, forgot to apply that over here. Just take some time, like pick a few things that you know that are really important to you. Values, beliefs, practices, and rate yourself and just check in. Have I been applying it? Has it really translated over to who I am? I've received the knowledge, but has it translated over to how I show up in my life and how I treat people and how I treat myself? And just, take some time to think and to reflect with loving kindness, with compassion. You don't need to be a jerk to yourself, but be honest with yourself too. Okay, don't be mean, but be honest, and just take some time to self-reflect and check in. How am I doing in this area here? Okay, so I hope you enjoyed today's Monday message. It has been great to be with you. If you like this video, please hit the like button down below and drop me a comment if you would like to just, give me some feedback or ask a question or any other commentary that you'd like to leave down below. Please feel free to do so. Please make it nice. If you haven't yet, please check out my group coaching program called The Empowered Way. I'm very excited. We're really enjoying our Tuesday meetups and Transformation Tuesday. And we'd love to have you. If you would like to feel more empowered and just really embody a sense of empowerment as you are trying to grow in your life, this is the program for you. It's a weekly live session and it's a monthly membership of just a measly $35. It's like less than $8 a session. And we have a nice group and it would be great to have you. So I'll leave the link down below. You can check that out. Otherwise, enjoy your Monday night. Enjoy your week. Please do apply the knowledge that you have and do your best to be your best. Just give it a try. I know that you want to, otherwise you wouldn't be watching these videos, but it is a gentle reminder because common sense isn't always common practice. All right, from my heart to yours, so much love from me to you. Peace and blessings, and namaste.